Hello again. So, 2007, Pixar came out with Ratatouille, a interesting cartoon. I saw it for the first time last year. Shows how up on my cartoons I am. So the interesting thing I found about this was you had the food critic ego is coming in, and we have to impress him. So Remy says, yeah, we're going to make Ratatouille, hence the name of the cartoon. And everyone's like, Ratatouille, that's a peasant dish. Now, I mean, you hear Ratatouille sounds fancy, so they're calling it a peasant dish. I looked it up. Basically it's a stew made out of squashes and bell peppers. One site says it is the last of the summer fruits. It originated in Nice in the 18th century. Now, I do make tomato zucchini soup from time to time, so I've had squash soup before. Why not squash stew? Now, the pictures they show of it doesn't look like a stew, not in the cartoon at least. And in some of the websites, looking up recipes, it doesn't look like a stew, as not as we think of stew here in America at least. Others it does, so I'm assuming you can make it either way. Yeah, I've never seen it in a restaurant or anything because it's a peasant food, but you wouldn't know that without seeing the movie. So I got to thinking of other foods which we think of as fancy, but really aren't. Now there's going to be a theme here. So, went to Ireland several times. Bunratty Castle, they got the banquets there you can go to. Great place. They make a potato leek soup. And from time to time, I've tried to make some. I actually made one a few weeks ago. And I don't do it as good as they do, but it comes out good. And they have a name for it. It's like Brom Bras or something like that. So I decided, what is this? What's this name? So I'm not just going to call it potato leek soup. So I look it up on the internet. What's the name of potato leek soup? Vichyssoise is potato leek soup. So the French have potato leek soup. Now the difference is Vichyssoise is served cold, or chilled at least. So potato leek soup, serve it warm. It's an Irish peasant food. Serve it chilled. It's a French gourmet feast, apparently. Or at least you would think it would. With the name, Vichyssoise, people talk about it like it's fancy. It's really just a chilled peasant food. Now, interesting enough, if you serve it warm in France, and they call it, where is that? Potage parmentier. Now, potage is just a thick stew, and parmentier just means with potatoes. So, warm vichyssoise is thick stew with potatoes. Chilled vichyssoise is vichyssoise, which it originated in 1935, and it basically just means from Vichy, and Vichy is a region of France. So, ooh, from Vichy, France. Ooh la la, how romantic. Because nothing says romance like cold chicken leek or cold potato leek soup. But it's got a French name, so it's romantic. Now, there was a episode of Hogan's Heroes. LeBeau is making bouillabaisse. He gives it to Newkirk to try, and Newkirk's like, fish stew. Because that's what it is. It's fish stew. Some recipes I looked up say it's a seafood stew, but it's fish stew. One site says it has to have at least two different kinds of fish in it. Big deal. So that's the one. Like I said, I like potato leek soup. I would try ratatouille. Vichyssoise. Do I want fish stew? My answer to that is probably not. First off, fish in a stew doesn't sound appetizing to me. Secondly, I like fish and chips. I like broiled fish. I like fried fish. I almost half the time I get the little piece of fish with a bone in it. So I'm thinking if I have fish stew, I'm going to have a bone in there. I'm not going to be thinking about it because it's a stew instead of just a fish. So I'm not going to think about it as much, and I'm probably going to end up swallowing a bone or something. So, I mean, I'm sure you don't make it with the bones in it, but there's always that one bone, that, fish bone, which gets in the fish, the dish accidentally, and I'm always the one who seems to get that bone. So I would be less willing to take bouillabaisse. Again, but it's French. You put extra spices in and stuff like that to make it fancy. Well, so bouillabaisse, it comes from bouillir, which means to boil, and where's that other one? Abaisser, or abaisser, which is to simmer or reduce. So basically, you're putting fish in a pot, you're boiling them, and then you're simmering them to reduce the liquid in there. That's pretty much all it really means. It's fish. It is pretty much literally fish stew, but it sounds fancy when you say it in French. Yeah. Also, one site said, let's see, it's a celebrated Marseille fish stew originated as a frugal dish made by local fishermen using less desirable fish and scraps that were unsaleable. So there you go. There's your fancy fish stew. Is the bits of the fish we couldn't sell. Suddenly, it sounds a lot less appetizing. Again, some people would like fish stew. I looked up, there are a lot of English recipes for fish stew, so it is popular with some people. Again, I myself would probably steer away from it just because fish bones. Speaking of bones in your food, chicken cacciatore. Sounds fancy. I've had chicken cacciatore. It's good. It's basically chicken stew. It is somewhat literally translated as cacciatore is hunter. So chicken cacciatore is sort of chicken hunter style. And so what you got going on here, you got your hunter. He's out, camping 2 or 3 days in the woods as he does his thing. Catches a chicken or some sort of game bird, plucks it, guts it, tears it to bits, and puts the bits in the stew. I never said he deboned it, because he doesn't always. Traditionally, you didn't take the bones out. So chicken cacciatore, it sounds real romantic, real fancy, until someone serves you chicken cacciatore with bones in it. Now, I'm sure you can make it without the bones. Interesting thing, I checked specifically, can you make chicken cacciatore without bones? And couldn't find anything. Found a lot of recipes. They don't necessarily mention leaving the bones in, but they do have things like this is a rustic dish. So it is peasant food, and rustic because, they originally they left the bones in. And there are going to be some places, because like I said, I've had it before. I didn't make it myself. They served it with the bones in it. So there are bits of ribs and bits of thigh bones, and it's hunter style. And the hunter doesn't always debone it. He guts it, he plucks the feathers, and then he tears the breast up and puts it in the stew pot. I once considered writing a short story about somebody's trying to impress a girl, so I'll make you chicken cacciatore, and he doesn't know what he's doing, so when he looks up the recipe and finds, you leave the bones in it, he doesn't know what to do. I figured that would make a good comedy story. I never got around to writing that. If I ever take a writing course, I might do that. Anyway, so there we go. The big things going on here, you might have noticed 3 French recipes and an Italian, because those are our fancy sounding languages. Mediterranean food, Greek food, Indian food, they got some fancy sounding names, but they aren't they aren't considered gourmet dishes. And so, fancy sounding names, you get it, it's really just a stew or whatever, but you don't think about it because, it's not, or foreign sounding. It's not fancy sounding, but it is foreign sounding. That's what I meant to say. Whereas French food and to some extent Italian food, ooh, this sounds fancy. This sounds gourmet. It must be good. No, it's really just a peasant food. So that is it. Like I said, just wanted to talk about it because again, saw this movie and they're talking about, ooh, that's a peasant dish, which is it's something I'd never had before. Never assumed it was a peasant dish, but oh yeah, it ends up it is. But then I got to thinking about other things which were peasant dishes, although they sound fancy. And so that's it. Just wanted to talk about that some. Have a nice day.